happy about that. That sent us to the Rose Bowl.
The traditions.
Those people are apathetic as hell, and they're going nowhere.
The games. This is Buckeye Glory Days, a doomed replay from your Buckeye past. Ohio State football will be back on the Fan before you know it. Until then, sit back, relax, and try to remember when.
Hello and welcome to Buckeye Glory Days here on Sports Radio 1460 The Fan, along with OSU historian and longtime fan favorite Jack Park. I'm Eric Kailin. As we go back in the annals of Ohio State history and games played here on the Fan, and we're going to go back to 1968, Jack, and this is the super sophomore team led by Jack Tatum and Rex Kern and Jim Otis and everybody, and it's amazing heading into this Michigan contest. Woody had always had pretty good success against the team up north, but you have to remember the years prior to 1968, things weren't all rosy as they were heading into this Michigan contest. There were banners flying overhead with planes saying Woody must go, and people thought Woody, who was about 54, 55 years old, had lost it, and maybe a new coach would be taking over soon. But in 68, they really turned things around, and heading into that Michigan game, they had been on quite a roll, and they even knocked off number one Purdue.
1968, Eric, was really a turning point in Woody Hayes' career, if you can say there was such thing as a turning point, because this is the first year Ohio State wins a Big Ten title in 7 years, since 1961. Woody Hayes is 55 years old, and as you mentioned, there had been a lot of rumors the last couple of years, 66 and 67, that Ohio State didn't pick up a little bit, that Woody Hayes might be relieved of his job. In fact, Earl Bruce has very openly told the story when he was an assistant coach under Hayes in 1967, when that 67 team lost 3 of its first 5 games. Hayes called the coaching staff together the next Monday morning, getting ready for the Michigan State game of 67, and told them very openly that if they didn't win out, there might be a chance that he would lose his job. And of course, he was feeling very concerned about the future of his assistant coaches. As it turned out, they won that Michigan State game in 1967, 21-7, a real big win up at East Lansing, and that was the beginning of a 22-game winning streak, longest in all of Ohio State football. And of course, as we get ready to play Michigan in 1968 now, that's the 9th game of the Ohio State season. They've won 8. And they now have won 12. They really now have won their last 12 football games.
At what point did the super sophomores really take over here, Jack? Because you had some guys that had been starters for years. Bill Long been a starter quarterback, had some success. Then all of a sudden you got Rex Kern starting. And I'm sure that guys that have been seniors and juniors who all of a sudden were not starting, and you had sophomores starting, there could have been an easy way for the team to quit or to have bad feelings and the team wouldn't gel. What happened there? What was Woody able to do? What were the players able to do where they were able to put that aside? I'm sure there was some of it still.
Oh, I'm sure there were some players. There were definitely some upperclassmen players that had played a lot more the previous year than played in 1968, and there had to be some hard feelings there. I mean, that's only human nature. Woody Hayes always said that this 1968 team really played so well because of the super sophomores that year, but also because the team had such strong senior leadership. They didn't have a whole lot of seniors, but Rufus Mays and Dave Foley were the 2 offensive tackles, and they were both All-Americans that year. And the starting center, John Mulbach, who was a senior that year, those 3 players in particular on offense gave Ohio State excellent senior leadership.
I don't think anybody's heard this game since 1968 on the radio. Bert Charles and Joe Hill had the call. And we're going to go back, and I found this in Bert's basement. And it's just like the AMC movie channel where they're saying, save our films, donate. And I happened to be in his basement, and he goes, yeah, I got some of this old stuff. And I started looking through it, and I almost fell over when I saw these tapes. And, some people collect baseball cards. I collect old radio stuff. And
growing up here in Columbus, as I have, of course, the voice of Bert Charles, very, very familiar, of course, to all Ohio State football fans.
We're going to pick this game up. We don't have the entire game, but we have most of it to give you a good flavor, and you would think this game was played yesterday. It's in such good shape. I couldn't believe it. But our thanks to Bert Charles for helping us out with this. We're going to pick it up with Michigan leading 7-0. Ron Johnson, there's a name from the past, played for the Giants in the NFL. No, Ron Johnson scored to make it 7-0 Michigan. We're going to pick it up now. Bert Charles, Joe Hill on the call, with Ohio State down at home 7-0. Let's go to the call with Bert Charles and Joe Hill right here on Sports Radio 1460 The Fan.
Michigan going 80 yards in 9 plays. And featuring the 39-yard gallop of Ron Johnson, he went over for the touchdown. Johnson, 7 carries, 51 yards, Bert.
Titus kicking off, and he knuckleballs it. Zelina fumbles it at the 15, comes back to the 20, to the 25, to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, and down to the Michigan 32-yard line. As Larry Zelina, using a fine bit of blocking by the Buckeyes, suddenly brings this big crowd back on his feet and alive as he runs that back from his own 15 to the Michigan 32-yard line. Ohio trailing 7-0, now sends Jankowski wide to the right. And it's an eye with Zelina in the slot. The ball is kept by Zelina, by Kern. He flips to Zelina. Zelina goes outside to the 20 and is down at about the 18-yard line. And it is a first down for Ohio as Larry Zelina walks the chalk again. George Huey and Bob Wedge forcing him out of bounds. First and 10, the ball at the 18-yard line of Michigan. As Larry Zelina is electrifying this crowd as though they needed it. Slot right. Gillian is in for Zelina to rest him in the right slot. The ball given to Otis, and Otis gets a couple, and that's all. As he gets close to the 15-yard line, and then the Michigan linebackers, Seymour, Stinchik, and Moore, blows him up. Illegal procedure against Ohio State. First and 15. It's an unbalanced to the right, see. And a quick pass over the middle and a fumble. Do they call it a completed pass or not? What do they call it? It is Michigan ball. The pass was complete to Jankowski, fumbled and recovered by Michigan on the 17-yard line. And so Michigan gets its first big break of the ball game just as the Buckeyes were preparing to knot it. The ball given to Johnson, and Johnson is held for short yardage at about the 18-yard line. A gain of possibly a yard, maybe 2. He gets to the 19, a 2-yard gain, 2nd and 8. Here's Staroba coming in for Gabler as the flanker. 7 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the first period. Michigan leads. And they shift out of the eyes. The ball is given to Johnson, and Johnson is nailed behind the line of scrimmage. On a diving tackle by Doug Adams. That's on the 12-yard line. A big loss on the play, and it'll now be a 3rd and 15. Staroba to the left. The ball at the 12-yard line. As Brown gives to Johnson, and Johnson comes up the middle, gets across the 15 to the 17-yard line, where Mark Steyer makes the tackle, and now Michigan will be in a punting situation. Their punter is Mark Warner, number 49, and he has a pretty fine average of 37.2. Standing on his own 3-yard line. He gets a good pass from center, and here's his punt. Pulaski takes it just short of the 50, runs it back to the 45, and down he goes at the 45 of Michigan, and the Buckeyes go to work again, trailing 7-0 with 5:44 remaining here in the first period. Calderazzo made the tackle for the Michigan Wolverines. And now it's the slot left. And the ball goes to Otis for a short yardage. Up the middle shot to about the 42, possibly the 41.5-yard line. Stinchik making the tackle at the 41. Jankowski wide against the 5-man line. As Kern bootlegs the ball and decides to run with it. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. And inside the 30 to the 28-yard line for a first down, Ohio, where George Huey makes the tackle. And he fakes the handoff, bootlegs the ball, and swept his own left end. Moving the ball to the Michigan 28. Michigan leads 7-0 with 5 minutes remaining in the first period. Jankowski wide to the right. Zelina in the right slot. A balanced line. Kern gives to Brockington, and Brockington is stopped practically at the line of scrimmage as the whole Michigan forward wall was there to meet him and greet him, headed up by Tom Goss, the defensive left end. And Kern rounding. There was a flag on the play, and I believe Kern's going to run with it. He's inside the 20 to the 15 and the 14, but I believe Buckeyes may have been offside or illegal procedure. somebody had an early start, we believe. The flag is down. Hill made the stop, and Kern got inside the 15, or at least close to the 15, but illegal procedure, backfield in motion, nullifies that one for the Buckeyes. 2nd and 13, a passing situation. Kern fakes the handoff, decides to run with the ball. He comes to the 30, to the 25, and inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. A pickup on the play of about 7 yards. Dan Parks making the tackle. But the Bucks are now faced with a definite passing situation with a 3rd and 6. Rusnak wide to the left. Jan White is split to the right. Zelina in the left slot. As Kern goes back to throw. He throws complete to Brockington. Brockington inside the 15 at the 14, and it's 1st and 10 Ohio. Hartman making the stop. Kern to Brockington, and it is a 1st down for Ohio inside the 15-yard line. We'll call it the 14 as Strickland comes in for Jack with the play from the bench. Buckeyes in an eye. And it's Kern keeping the ball, going inside his own right guard, gets to about the 11-yard line, a 3-yard pickup. And there was a mix-up in the Ohio backfield on that play. He was looking for somebody to hand to, and finally had to go it alone, and Tom Stinchik, the middle linebacker, made the tackle. Unbalanced line off the tee. And the ball is given to Otis, and Otis doesn't get much. He gets inside the 10 to about the 8, possibly the 7.5, where again Stinchik, along with Dan Parks, makes the tackle. The ball given to Zelina, and Zelina gets inside the 5, very close to the 1st down. They may have to measure. It's at the 4.5, and now he moves the ball back just a mite. And now it looks like he may be a bit short. They're going to bring in the chain gang as Stinchik made the tackle. He upended him. And here's a mighty important measurement, although it's only a 3rd down play. It is short about 6 inches. They need 6 inches. Michigan digging in with an 8-man line. Kern gives to Otis, and Otis scores! Touchdown, Ohio! He got the 1st down and the touchdown. 7-6 is the score. As Roman comes in to attempt to tie it up. 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the 1st period. Jim Roman, with long holding, will attempt to tie up the football game. The ball thrown down. The kick is up, and it is good. All tied up, 7-7. Timeout on the field. Here's a break for you.
And welcome back to Buckeye Glory Days here on the Fan. Eric Kailin and Jack Park with you. Let's jump ahead to the 2nd quarter now. The Buckeyes leading 14-7. They're kicking off to Michigan. Let's go back to 1968. Ohio State and Michigan. Buckeye Glory Days here on the Fan.
Here's the boot, and he gets a pretty good boot into that win. Hui goes back to the 3. He's back to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, and down at the 21 or 22-yard line by Anderson. Timmy Anderson making the tackle. Pulaski also in on the play, as was Tom Backus and Ratke. A whole Buckeye kickoff team was near the football on that one, but Timmy Anderson got there first. The ball at the 22. Gabler wide to the left. Imsland wide to the right. Now they shift out of the eye as Dennis Brown attempts to sweep. Now he's going to throw, and he throws and knocked down on a beautiful save by Provost, intended for Imsland, as Provost came up at the last minute and batted the ball away from the outstretched fingers of Jerry Imsland. 2nd and 10. The ball on the 22-yard line. Again, Gabler to the left. Imsland to the right, off the I formation. Now they shift into 2 setbacks, and Brown keeps the ball, goes inside, and he's hit by Nielsen and stopped almost in his tracks. He falls forward to about the 23-yard line for a 1-yard gain. And it is now 3rd and 9. And it looks like a passing down. are over to the left, Harris to the right. And it is Brown keeping, and they get him back on the line of scrimmage on the 20. Was that DeBevick? I believe it was Whitfield and DeBevick in on the play, but DeBevick got there first. So it's a 4th and 12. He could really get some leather into the football. Here's the kick, and it's a good, long, high, soaring kick that Pulaski takes over his shoulder on the 25, and he isn't going to be able to go anywhere. He gets it to the 29-yard line, but the Buckeyes have the football. They lead 14-7, and they go to the offense. 1st and 10. Bill Harris made the tackle on Mike Pulaski. And that was quite a boot, Joe.
58 yards covered on that kick.
All right, the Bucks send Jankowski wide to the right. Gillian is in the slot. The ball on the 29. The ball is given to Brockington, and Brockington gets it to about the 32, possibly the 33-yard line. A gain of 3.5 to 4 yards. They give him to the 33, so it's a gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Slot right, Gillian in the slot. Kern keeping, faking the pass, deciding to follow his blocking, gets inside the 25 and to about the 24 or 23-yard line. Kern keeping, Pryor making the tackle. The ball at the 37-yard line, I said 32 or 3. Check that, it's the 37. Again, it's a slot, this time to the left, with Gillian in the slot. Kern gives to Otis, fumble on the ball, recovered by Ohio State. Kern recovered Otis's fumble at the 36-yard line, but that's going to force a punting situation. And Woody tells Sensabaugh where he wants him to kick it. This is Ohio's first punt, and it will be against the wind. Waiting for the snap. Here's the boot, and he punts it to the right. Huey gets it, and he's being chased. He gets one block. He gets two. He's at the 35. He's at the 40. He gets another block at the 45. He's at the 50-yard line before being down by Sensabaugh. And they got some blocking for Mr. Huey then. Pryor threw a key block. Stinchik threw one. And Huey used it. White finally made the tackle. Well, just short of the 50-yard line. We'll call it the Michigan 49. Excellent field position. Gabler wide to the left. Imsman wide to the right. And it is Brown going back to throw. He's being chased. They're chasing him again, trying to get him, and they finally do get him. Way back on the 38-yard line. Brad Nielsen and Dave Whitfield. A loss of 11 yards on the play. Actually, the 37-yard line, I believe they're going to put the ball down. A 12-yard loss. And it'll be 2nd and 22. And the Buckeye defensive unit came to play. Gabler wide to the left. Imsland wide to the right, off the eye. Now they shift into two setbacks. The ball given to Johnson. And Johnson is pulled down behind the line of scrimmage by DeBevick. A loss on the play back to the 36-yard line as DeBevick fought off the blockers and made the tackle on Ron Johnson himself. Harris wide to the left. Gabler wide to the right as Brown goes back to throw. And he overthrows his intended receiver, Harris, incomplete. And it's again a punting situation for the Michigan Wolverines from their own 36 as Mark Werner comes into the ball game. Here's Werner's punt. Pulaski is the deep man. He's coming in to take it on his own 25. Fumbles it momentarily, comes back to the 30, fumbles, and it's Michigan ball on the 28-yard line. Michigan ball on the Ohio 28. As he fumbled momentarily, grabbed the handle, was hit, and Harris recovered the fumble for Michigan. And another big break of the football game goes over to the Wolverines. This is the second time they have picked up a Buckeye fumble. They send Gabler to the left, Imsland to the right. The Buckeyes in a 5-3. The ball given to Johnson, and Johnson gets a few, gets across the 25 to about the 24-yard line. A gain of about 3, possibly 4 on the play. Staroba is wide to the left as the ball is given to Johnson, and Johnson has a hole, gets across the 20, and gets the first down at about the 16-yard line. Doug Evans making the tackle. Gabler coming in, now replacing Staroba, and it's 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line. The ball given to Craw, and Craw has running room inside the 10 and gets to the 9. On a quick hitter over his own right guard, everybody expecting Johnson. The ball given to Garvey Craw, and Mark Steyer finally made the tackle. And it is Ron Johnson meeting almost a stone wall at about the 8-yard line. Dave Whitfield making the tackle at the 8. It is short of the first down by a couple. Gabler wide to the left. I formation, balance line. Now they shift to 2 setbacks. And the ball is given to Craw again, and he gets the first down at about the 5-yard line. Just enough for the first down, and it'll be 1st and goal to go for the Michigan Wolverines. 8:34 remaining in the half. And it is Ron Johnson being called on. He gets 1, and that's about all, maybe 1.5 yards to about the 3.5-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and goal to go. And now Gabler comes in with the play from the bench. In very tight, 2 setbacks. And it is Craw. Craw gets to about the 1.5, maybe the 1-yard line with a second effort. He was stopped at the 2 and just kept driving. And it'll be a 3rd and goal to go from inside the 1-yard line. Checking things. Gives to Johnson, and he's in for the score. Ohio 14, Michigan 13. As Ron Johnson brings Michigan to within 1 point, crouching to hold at the 10-yard line. He has the wind at his back. The ball is towed down, the kick is up, and it is good. All tied up, 14-14, 7 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the half. Lots of action yet to come. Michigan kicking off to Ohio, and with time called, time in for you.
And welcome back to Buckeye Glory Days here on the Fan. Eric Kailin and Jack Park with you. We're replaying the 1968 broadcast, Ohio State at home against Michigan. And the Super Sophomores are having a tremendous game against the team up north. And Jack, at this point, it's anybody's game.
21-14 in favor of Ohio State at halftime, Eric, but this really is everybody's ball game. And even though Ohio State fans today look back at this game as such a huge victory over Michigan by such a large margin, one thing we might tend to forget a little bit, this is an excellent Michigan team. Michigan is 8-1 coming into this game. They've lost their opener, a non-conference game to California by a score of 21-7, but they've won their last 8 ball games, and they are also undefeated in Big Ten Conference play. So this is a game for the Big Ten title. This is a game for the Rose Bowl. Michigan, like all other Big Ten teams in 1968, are playing a 10-game schedule. Ohio State is the only team in the Big Ten that still only plays a 9-game regular season schedule. In fact, when the other 9 members of the league went to 11-game schedule in 1971, it was just at that time that Ohio State went to a 10-game schedule. So we're 8-0 going into this Michigan game. Michigan is 8-1. This is Bump Elliott's last game as head coach at Michigan, but this is really a solid Michigan team.
Okay, Jack, let's remind everybody that we got these tapes courtesy of Bert Charles. I was talking to him one day, and he said he had some tapes down in his basement. He didn't have the complete game, but what we were able to find and put over onto tape, we're playing back for you. We're going to pick the game up now later in the contest. The Buckeyes have just scored to make it 30-14. It's still anybody's contest. Let's go back to Buckeye Glory Days, 1968. It's Ohio State taking on Michigan at Ohio Stadium. Bert Charles and Joe Hill on the call right here on the Fan.
Johnson and Schreffler are the other two, and there is more paper on the field. It looks like a snowstorm out there now, as the Buckeye fans are tearing up everything in sight. Here's the boot by Opperman. It's a wobbly kick that Johnson takes on his own 6. Johnson to the 15. Johnson to the 18. Johnson is grabbed from behind by Provost and Whitfield at about the 17 or 18-yard line. Tatum also coming across the field to get him at about the 17-yard line. The Buckeyes leading 30-14. The Wolverines, with 12:19 to go, will probably be going to the air. Brown goes back to pass. Now he decides he's going to run with the ball. He's at the 15. Now he throws it. And it is broken up and intercepted by Adams. Adams at the 35. Adams at the 31. And the Buckeyes have the football on the first play from scrimmage. Provost hit it first. Doug Adams picked it off. And listen.
The second interception by Ohio State has given them excellent field position at the 31-yard line and the 1st and 10.
A full house backfield. And the ball is given to Gillian, and Gillian gets it to about the 29-yard line, possibly the 28, where Cecil Pryor makes the tackle. We'll call it the 28.5-yard line, a gain of 2, 2nd and 8. As Kern goes around his own right end. He gets a block. He's at the 30, the 25, the 20. And he butts into Stinchik and is knocked out of bounds on about the 17-yard line. 1st and 10, Ohio. And Rex Kern is having himself a ball. The ball at the 17.5-yard line. As Kern gives to Otis, and Otis, right over his own left guard, gets to the 12-yard line. A gain of about 5 or 6 on the play. They give him 6, and it'll be a 2nd and 4. And Gillian goes into the left slot against a 6-1 defense. Kern keeping the ball, faking, goes inside, gets to the 10, possibly the 9.5, where he's short of the first down by about 2, possibly 2.5. Again, it is Dan Parks making the tackle. We'll see where they give him forward motion. Kern gives to Otis, and he gets the first down at the 6-yard line. Flag on the play. We'll see what the motion is. Roughness against Michigan. Face mask. Personal foul. Michigan digging in with a 7-4. Kern with a quarterback sneak, goes in and scores! Rex Kern scores again for the Buckeyes! 36-14, and listen to this crowd! And now Jim Roman, who a few moments ago gets the field goal, will attempt the conversion. The ball thrown down, the kick is up, and it is good. 37-14, Ohio, Michigan. Timeout on the gridiron. Here's the timing message. Opperman moves in on the football. Here's his boot. Not too long this time. Johnson takes it on the 7, to the 10, to the 15, cutting at the 20, and down he goes at the 22 or 23. Fumble. Or did he squeeze through there? There was a fumble, and I guess Michigan recovered. Johnson fumbled the ball, and number 12, Hoey, recovered the fumble at the 26-yard line. The ball squirted out of the crowd, and Hoey recovered it. So it's 1st and 10 from their own 26. Imsland to the right, Gabler to the left. Brown going back to pass. He fakes one man out, now decides to run at the 25 to the 28, and down he goes at the 28-yard line. Mark Steyer making the tackle. A gain of 2 yards on the play. A lot of lateral motion, but a pickup of 2, and it's 2nd and 8. Staroba wide to the left, Imsland wide to the right. I formation. Brown goes back to throw. He has time. He throws complete, and Tatum really decks him at the 30. He threw complete to Pandich, and Tatum rode him out of bounds at the 30-yard line, and what a tackle that was. I'm glad that was not high, Joe.
That is vicious tackling. Tatum sailed through the air and leveled on him. and took him back about 5 yards. The forward motion, though, at the 29-yard line for a net gain of 1.
Harris to the right, Staroba to the left. As Brown goes back to throw. He throws down the middle, complete to Staroba. Staroba at the 50, Staroba at the 45, and down at the 42-yard line of Ohio State on a fine pass by Dennis Brown. So it's 1st and 10 Michigan on a Dennis Brown to Staroba pass. The Buckeyes are playing it rather loose. Brown back to throw. He throws a screen to Johnson, and Johnson is caught at about the 39-yard line of Ohio State, but it is a gain of about 4. Mark DeBevick making the tackle on Ron Johnson. And it's an astonishing thing that Michigan has not, either in the early stages of the ball game, gotten the ball to their big man, Ron Johnson, more frequently. Brown again back to throw. Decides to run, and they catch him at the line of scrimmage, or behind the line of scrimmage, actually. At about the 42-yard line, Dave Whitfield doing the honors for the Scarlet and Gray. So it'll be a 3rd and about 10 at the 42-yard line, a loss of 4 on that play. Dennis Brown going back to throw. He's being rushed, and he's caught by Whitfield. Back on the 47 or 48-yard line. Whitfield making the tackle for Ohio State. Schmidlin also in on the play. And Mark DeBevick coming in from his closed side of the field as Mark Werner, the punter, comes in. Mark Werner decides to run with the ball, and the Buckeyes were looking for it. And they get him, and it's a flag on the play. Back on the 43-yard line, he gets close to first down territory, but I don't think he got there, but we saw a flag go down. And we'll see what the preliminary call is. DeBevick making the tackle. Holding against Michigan. That's the 43-yard line of Ohio State, and the Bucks were ready for that fake punt. And Jankowski goes wide to the right. And Gillian is in the slot. Kern giving the ball to Otis, and Otis is held for very short yardage. He gets the ball to about the 35-yard line, and then about 5 Michiganders toss him back to about the 30, but his forward motion goes to the 35 for a gain of about 2. It's a slot right for the Bucks, with Kern bootlegging the ball, looking like he's going to try to sweep, and they're chasing him and get him at about the 38-yard line. He had to do it on his own as he had no blocking. Goss making the tackle at the 38-yard line, so the Bucks will now have a 3rd and about 5. Kern going back to throw, but he fakes and gives the ball to Otis. Otis on a trap coming up the middle, gets the first down at the 45-yard line. A beautiful fake by Rex Kern, and Otis gets it again. As Kern gives to Gillian, and Gillian has some running room. He's at the 50. He could go all the way. Gillian at the 20, the 15, caught from behind by Huey on about the 5. Ray Gillian exploding up the middle on the counter play. Gives the Buckeyes a 1st and goal to go from the 5-yard line. A 50-yard run for Ray Gillian. And Huey caught him from behind. So the Bucks, with explosiveness from all of their backfield, now have Gillian at right half off the tee, and it is Rex Kern handing off to Gillian again, and Gillian, they wanted to give him a touchdown, Joe, and that's what I was giggling about, and he got it to the 2, and I have a suspicion they're going to keep on giving that ball to Gillian until he takes it in. Leophis Hayden is in at left halfback. The ball again given to Gillian, and Gillian cannot go as he stumbles over his own blocker, and the ball is at the 3-yard line, I believe is where they're going to mark it. Stinchik piling up the play at the 3. Less than 4 minutes remaining in the ball game. They give it to Otis, and Otis scores. Touchdown, Ohio. 43-14. The Buckeyes turning the ball game into a rout. After trailing 7-0, the Buckeyes go ahead 43-14. And even though Ray Gillian didn't get the touchdown, he carried them 50 yards toward him. 43-14. Long will hold. Roman would attempt the conversion. Waiting for the snap. Here's the boot. And the kick is good. 44-14. Ohio over Michigan. Timeout on the field. Here's a break for you.
And welcome back to Buckeye Glory Days here on The Fan. Let's get back to the 1968 Ohio State-Michigan matchup. Bert Charles and Joe Hill on the call right here on Sports Radio 1460 The Fan.
And here's Opperman's boot. And he boots it right at Johnson, but it bounces high. Johnson takes it on the 4, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, to the 25, and down he goes on the 25-yard line. Mark Steyer, I believe, was the first to him. And how often that is the case. Mark Steyer making the initial contact. The ball at the 25 as Michigan breaks out of its huddle. And Staroba is wide to the left. Imsland wide to the right. Dennis Brown back to throw. Decides now he's going to throw it, and it's intercepted by Ohio. Back to the 30, to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, and down at about the 12-yard line is Art Burton. Art Burton, the second stringer, made the interception. Defensive back from Fostoria, and the Buckeyes have it again on the 11-yard line, and their second stringers did it, and here comes senior Billy Long in as the quarterback. And we see some players out there we're going to have to go to our program for. Wide to the left is somebody we haven't seen yet. And here's Billy Long keeping the ball, circling his own left end, and he gets to the 10-yard line. Henry Hill making the tackle. In the backfield is Jim Coburn at fullback. One of the ends is John Stowe. Billy Long giving the ball to Hayden, and Hayden gets it to about the 7-yard line with 2:43 remaining. Dan Parks again making the stop. Split end is John Stowe. As Billy Long goes back to throw, he throws complete at the 1-yard line to one of the Buckeyes. We couldn't see who it was, and it'll be goal to goal. I think it's a first down. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Parks and Stinchik making the tackle. Hayden is the left halfback. The ball given a huff, and he's tossed for a loss back to about the 2. So it's second and goal to go as the wind is picking up in intensity. The ball at the 2. Here comes Otis in again. Billy Long gives it to Otis, and he barrels in for another score. And he throws it into the stands. He throws the football into the stands. And he's going out of his mind down there, just carrying him around. Oh, this is pandemonium here. 50-14 Ohio State. And Woody is looking at his bench. He doesn't know who else to pull in, as the Buckeyes have split it wide open. And the fans are yelling more. And they're going to go for 2. They're going to go for 2 with only 2 setbacks out there. Long goes back to throw. He's being rushed. And he throws it too high, and it's no good. I don't think they had enough players on the field. Count them. 2, 5, 8. They only had 10 players, Joe.
Well, they only did the job with 10. Long trying to hit Pollitt in the end zone. He was a little crowded and couldn't get up for it. It sailed over his head. And the Buckeyes now have 28 first downs, and they have completed 6 of 10 passes.
Staroba, Gabler, and Scheffler are the deep men. Here's the boot by Opperman. This is Scheffler taking it on the 6, to the 15, to the 20, to the 25, and caught at the 26. On the play by Tom Bartley. Michigan goes to the offense. A minute and 18 seconds remaining as Moorhead comes in at quarterback. Scheffler is the left half. Warren Sipp, the fullback. And Johnson stays in the ball game.
Four for Bullets this afternoon, Bert.
Moorhead circling his own left end, being chased now. Is at the 30. Goes outside at the 35 and out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. And it's a fight at the Michigan bench. And everybody's getting into the act. As there's two fights, as Johnson is having a fight with one of the Buckeye players. 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there's the end of the football game, and out come the fans, and everybody is coming out of the stands, Joe, and they won't let the Buckeyes get to the bench. And the Buckeye team has got Woody on their shoulders, and Woody says, let me down, I want to get to Elliott. And he's trying to find Elliott. He does find a few of the Michigan players, pats them on the back, and there must be 3,000 fans preventing the Buckeyes from getting to their locker room. And still they're coming out of the stands. 50-14, and they're going to tear down the goalposts. They're starting on the north side, trying to get them. And, well, it's a cliche, but we have to say it is pandemonium here at Buckeye Stadium. They're trying to get the Buckeye players to their shoulders as Ohio State came from behind 7-0, and here comes the Ohio State marching band. Well, we'll be here a while yet, but before we recap and tell you more about what is going on, give you the highlights and the statistics, here is your announcer.
And that is the final call as Ohio State blows out Michigan by a final of 50-14. And Woody Hayes saying afterwards, when somebody asked him, why'd you go for 2 points at the end? I mean, my goodness, you're up, you got 50-14. Why are you going for 2? And he goes, because I couldn't go for 3.
Yeah. Jim Otis, of course, scored 4 touchdowns in that game, Eric. He, along with Bob Ferguson, scoring 4 touchdowns in the 1961 Michigan game. That's the most touchdowns ever scored by an Ohio State player in an Ohio State-Michigan game. Ohio State, as we just heard, blew out Michigan 29-0 in the second half. 23 of those 29 points, of course, coming in the fourth quarter. And if there was ever an Ohio State-Michigan game where Ohio State got stronger as the game went along, it was certainly this 1968 game.
Jack, what was it like here in Columbus after that victory?
It was really pandemonium. There was a huge student pep rally parade, victory parade down to the State House, which lasted way up into the night. In fact, around midnight, and it was very friendly. There was nothing, no destruction of any type.
No couches burning?
No couches burning. It was just a very friendly pep rally. Everybody was rejoicing. What looked like now to be a national championship season. Of course, a 36-point victory over Michigan. About midnight, Coach Woody Hayes and Columbus Mayor Jack Sensenbrenner appeared at this pep rally right down at the State House and just joined in the joyous occasion and thanked everybody for coming down to help celebrate this huge win over Michigan.
And it's weird because the next year, Woody said that was probably his best team he ever had in '69. The Super Sophomores were now juniors. And then they go up to Michigan facing a new head coach and former Woody Hayes assistant Bo Schembechler. And Bo Schembechler later goes on to say, it was my greatest victory. Woody Hayes said, I will never have a finer victory. And he was right because Michigan upends the Buckeyes in Ann Arbor in 1969.
Yeah, Bo's first year, of course, Bo replaced Bump Elliott. Then going into the 1969 season, Don Canham had become Michigan's new athletic director in '68. And probably the best decision Don maybe ever made on behalf of Michigan was to hire Bo Schembechler 1 year later as a replacement for Bump Elliott. Bo's only 39 years old.